a lot of things. What I've done is, I have, uh, I have, I know that we started from a syllabus, but then as we started taking this training, I found that this was not there, this was not. So I updated the syllabus a little bit out here. Uh, so today, what we'll do is today I want to focus on two things. So yesterday we looked into ASP.NET Core hosting. From there, we connected to SQL Server. We created a network. We were able to connect. We were able to create the database and so on, right? So that was great. Today, my focus is first on hosting an old uh, web application, ASP.NET Web Forms, right? Hosting web forms into Docker. So that would be quite interesting. So I would like to know that over here that how many people are from web form or how many people know about web form. If you do not know about web form, say no. If you say yes, that means you are old like me then, right? Know about it, but never worked, know about it. Okay. So no, sir, I'm a fresher. Okay, good. No, sir, I'm 2 years of experience. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, I can see many years out here. So just in case, people who are new, right? Um, Initially, when the .NET, ASP.NET started, they started with web forms. So after that, we had MVC 5, then we had MVC Core, and now we are moving towards MVC 6, 7, whatever, right? The .NET Core cross-platform thing. So in case if you're not aware of web forms, right, it was nothing but it was a way of programming, wherein you had a UI and the UI had a code behind, right? Remember the web form style of programming, just for people who are, I can see that there are some people, friends out here who are 2-3 years of experience. So they must have never heard about web form or never looked into web form. So very quickly, see there are, one is ASP.NET. Let me just talk about it. Right, I can see your question, sir. Do something Java. I think, when I announced this syllabus, I'm very sorry for that. When I announced the syllabus, I was very, very specific, not only on my YouTube video, anywhere, that this training is meant for Windows and ASP.NET perspective. It has Windows and ASP.NET perspective. And I would like to stick to that perspective. But we can connect later on and check that how we can help you. Okay. So currently, because what happens now, if I start Java also, if I start PHP also, everything will get mixed up. And with all respect, this Docker file creation is very different, for every technology, right? For example, you talk about web form does not work on Linux. So if it does not work on Linux, your Docker has to run on Windows, right? So it is not the same actually, right? Okay. So just quickly, we have .NET, our framework, our reusable libraries, our reusable classes. And on the top of it, we have our ASP.NET, which helps us to do web application. So the .NET has the collections, the generics, the system.NET, the system.console, whatever, right? All that reusable libraries out here. Using that, they have created ASP.NET on the top of it, which has the request, the response, the sessions, the context object, the cookie, all that is created. Now, in that, there are two different programming styles, which they tried to create, and they have stuck to new one now. The old programming style was that code behind. So more RAD programming, you have a UI, you go there, you drag and drop, and there's a code behind. Okay, so this was rapid application development. So do it quickly, postbacks, right? But it worked, right? And another way is, they said, no, like we will do the controller view and model style. So if you see the way people say ASP.NET web form, ASP.NET MVC, remember, it is like ASP.NET is not MVC. Let me say that. So please understand, it is ASP.NET web form, old one, ASP.NET MVC 5, ASP.NET MVC core. So ASP.NET is a framework, and these are coding styles. These are architectural styles, whatever you want to say, right? So this one here, this came in 2003 approximately. It went till 2007 very nicely, but it had a lot of postbacks, a lot of post, everything refreshing. They tried to fit Ajax. Ajax did not work, right? And then it was abandoned and MVC 5 started, right? MVC 2 started, MVC 3 started, MVC 4, and we had .NET Core afterwards, right? But what if you have an old application? So can we go and host it on Docker, right? So the good news is, yes, you can. So I'll go and I will say ASP.NET. Now you have to be very careful. I'll create an application. So ASP.NET, ASP, right. So you can see ASP.NET Core, ASP.NET, the new one. And then we have ASP.NET Web Application, .NET Framework. And remember these words, vocabulary. .NET Framework, when you say it is the old one, .NET Core, when you say the new one. Everything is .NET Framework now. I do understand it. But I'm just saying if you have confusion while speaking, right? So just make sure that. So now this one here, you can see this is Visual Basic. I will take this one. So this is .NET Framework. It does web form. It does MVC. It does web API, right? I'll say next. And we'll create web application 4. We'll just do this, right? We'll select web form. So you can also select MVC5. You can also select web API and create it. Okay, this is the old one. Now remember that the old one worked on .NET 4.x. So 4.5, 4.6, 4.7, you can see the framework out here. So this complete thing will only run on Windows, right? This is the old GAC. You can see the global assembly cache. That hammer sign out there indicates that everything is a GAC out there. The NuGet, the biscuit sign, that biscuit sign indicates it's a NuGet. But this hammer signs you can see indicates that these files are installed in your C program references, right? So it is while the NuGet actually gets it into a user profile folder and so on. Different ways of working for the new MVC. So now this one is out here and I want to go and host it. So I would like to go and see this thing. This application I want to run inside Docker. Remember your old IIS Express is down below. You can see it is running IIS Express. So this is my ASP.NET web form. ASP.NET web form, just to check. This is default.aspx. And that was the design. Nostalgic, huh? Nostalgic. You see something old. 2003. View toolbox. I want to once see that. Too long time I've not seen it. That toolbox, drag and drop, RAD application development, superb. Whatever it was, it had its own time, and we built an application using it. Okay. Now I want to go and run this. So how do I do it? So first thing, we know now that this is going to run on Windows only, right? So there is nothing about the build. So what we can do is we can directly make the build and put it into Docker, right? So I'll say build, publish, web application 4. I will publish to my local folder. I will directly take the build. Again, I'm saying why I'm making the direct build. Because, other than Windows, this will not run anywhere. Are we getting, guys? Why do we do a .NET build, the old one, the .NET Core? Because we can run on Linux also. Your container can be Linux, your container can be Windows, right? So that's why here we don't have to worry. We don't have to think about, there is nothing cross-platform here, right? So there it is. This is the publish folder, published, right? So that is the folder where our release is. So I'm going to go and take this complete publish folder. This is what we want to make it live. That is the release folder. That is the publish folder. So let me take the complete publish folder out here and let me go to my online, right? And let us go ahead here and let us create here something. I already have one web form out there. So I'll just say web form test. Remember, as a best practice, so that your Docker file is not so confusing, make sure that you create a top folder and you put your build inside that folder. Don't try to write your Docker file into the build folder. You have to then travel up and down. It would become very complex, right? So it is getting copied out here. Now, if you remember, I did a lot of donkey work last time, and I wanted to do that donkey work, because to show you how Windows IIS works. If you remember last time when we said we want to host inside IIS, I freshly created that Docker file. It installed the .NET runtime. It installed that, right? So first point, that teaching I have done, so that you understand that if there is a complicated Docker file to be written, how to write it. Point number one. But here it is, there are many Docker ready-made images. You don't have to do from scratch. Definitely, the images are standard, but if you say no, like I want to go and install that SDK, I want to go and install that runtime, then you need the code. Or else what you can do is you can just go to hub.docker.com and you can search your favorite ready-made image, right? So for example, now I want to search ASP.NET. I'm interested in ASP.NET. So let me go out here and I can go and I can search ASP.NET. So last time, if you remember, I did so much hard work to do ASP.NET, IIS, but here it is. You will get something which is ready made out here, right? So you can see this is ASP.NET, and that is interesting that .NET is also getting deployed into Ubuntu as well. And good to see that. So this is the ASP.NET Core runtime. We don't want that. This is the ASP.NET. This is what we want, right? And let me just check. It just says ASP.NET 4.8, ASP.NET 3.5. So remember, if you have that old WCF, WPF kind of an application, that also you can do with ASP.NET 3.5 as well. So ASP.NET 4. So that is now what you can do is, so you can say docker pull. I'll copy this command out here, and let us go ahead and pull that image. So we can write in a file if you want, but I will just pull it separately out here. So I'll just run it, and I will just say edit paste that. I hope it just comes. Docker pull mcr.microsoft.net framework, and this, also in case you are a command, if you want to just go and search from command line, you can say docker search as well. So if you want to say like, okay, docker search.net, it should go and hit the hub, the Docker hub. So even that should come up. And why I don't see, now they have tagged it like docker find mcr Microsoft something. That is a better way to get it. Why am I not getting it? I think I'm not finding the right, I'm trying to find it in the right way. Docker find, how about Microsoft? Remember, you have to be very careful. I mean, like, it's possible that you are doing a get latest and you are doing of someone custom web. So you have to know what you're doing, right? So just make sure that you pull up the right repository. But that is the right repository for us. We search by using Docker Hub, more user-friendly. So I'll just go and pull this up and I will put it into my cache, into my Docker, right? So you remember, this one now, if you look at the Docker description, what it says out here, this says that this will help us to build. It has IIS 10 installed as a web server. .NET Framework, multiple versions are available. Tuck, all that 4.8, 4.8x, 3.5. And also it has enabled .NET X. So, I mean, for all this, if you remember, we were doing so much pain out there. So what you can do is, the last time, what I did, the exercise, you can try to find the right Docker image and make your life easy, right? Okay. So it is downloading out there. And let us see if publish file is out here. Okay, good. So our publish directory is out here. Until that download happens out there, let us go and write the Docker file. Now the Docker file writing is pretty simple out here, because now there is no build, there is nothing, right? The published DLLs are out here, nothing to write really, actually, if you ask me. You have to just copy this publish file into www. You have to just copy this publish file into www. So the Docker file can become very, very pretty simple out here, if I'm not wrong. So let me go to my E drive. Remember, all the Docker files, what I've done is, as per the situations, I have created folders. Understanding of concept of layers, compose file example, SQL Server with EF Core, with Kestrel, with .NET Core, simple IIS, this, that, pure SQL Server, right? So that's a simple Docker file. That's what it should be. You just pull this thing. Now that I'm doing manually already I'm doing that manually, and copy from that directory to inetpub. IIS is installed. ASP.NET 4.8x is enabled. Nothing to do out here, right? So I'll just go and create a Docker file. So you know what? You can't create a pure Docker file from here because it creates a text document. So I'll take up another Docker file of someone. I mean, if you want to create this file, you have to go to the command prompt. From here, I don't know how to create a file without an extension. I mean, if you create this like this, it makes a text. still makes a text, So not aware of it. So what I'll do is I'm just going and pasting this, and in this, I will just paste this whole thing. And you can see at the back end, it is installing. That is installed already. And we don't need all this, right? This is it. Now remember our folder, our current folder from here, the inet www root is the folder which is inside the Docker image. Please understand, right? So our folder is .publish. So from the .publish, just take this build and put it into www root. Tuck, right? Nothing. Okay. Okay, good. So we'll do this. We'll do this. You can see our image, our Docker ASP.NET framework images out here. So if I just say Docker images, I should find this ASP.NET out here, right? We can see the other ones, server core, and also we have used it. Now, what we can also do is we can take this image and just post it. Okay, I can, because this is an image which is given by Microsoft. So I think I can just say Docker run. Let me try that. So let us see what it shows. So we can just take that image which has just come out and we can just say Docker run, right? So I'm so sorry, I'm copy pasting this because I don't want to type it. Docker run. And what do you want to run? I want to create an ASP.NET instance. ASP.NET instance from the image, this one, right? Remember, this image is coming from Microsoft, and it will let it run on 8080 port. And let us see. So you can see it has taken that raw image, which is given by Microsoft, and it has created an instance. Let us see what it shows. So if we go out here, you can see ASP.NET instance. Let us see. There are too many browsers opened out here. Okay. So let me run this. I hope everybody knows this error. This error says that ASP.NET is there. Point number one. I hope everybody understanding it. Only thing is that the inet www root is empty. The inet www root is empty. So it says, right, there is no web config file, nothing, right, in that. So it is saying but this is definitely ASP.NET. This is definitely IIS, right? So if you go and if you check the Chrome tool out here, and if you see the network, you should see pretty much IIS running out there. I'm very comfortable with Chrome. This is installed fine. But here also I can find that is, let me check here, 403 forbidden, that is okay. And where is the server name? In the response header, yeah, there you can see IIS 10 X powered ASP.NET. So everything is there in place. We don't have to worry. So let us do like this now. Let us get rid of this instance and let us create the instance by copying our final files. Guys, you can put down your questions out there. More than happy to answer. So what I'll do is I will take this thing, Docker run, and we will use our image. Oh, first thing we have to create an image. We have to create an image. So let us go inside this thing and let us create a web form image. So CMD. Remember to create the image, Docker build command. So sorry, I'm copy pasting it. So Docker build ASP.NET image. Right. ASP.NET web form, whatever. And the dot says that take it from the current directory. Now remember, already the .NET framework has been pulled. So you can see he has to just do the copy part, that is done. So now we should see our image out here, which is there. ASP.NET image, right? So we take this image and we create our instance. Okay, so let's say Control V. So image name is ASP.NET image. So I'll just say ASP.NET Instance 1, ASP.NET Image. Now remember, guys, one thing is there for sure that at this moment I'm writing the commands. Later on as we move ahead in the class, I will show you some very beautiful tools out there where you don't have to do all this, right? But first do it with the command, because if let us say you want to run all these commands inside DevOps, then you should know that what exactly these commands are, right? So there it is. Good. I will just say container. So our ASP.NET Instance 1 is out there. Let us run it. Let us see. Do we see our nostalgic ASP.NET running? There it is. Oh, that is ASP.NET Web Form running inside Docker. Great. 2 lines of code, nothing. And so any questions here? Let me know if there are any questions. If you have any questions, you can put down. Yes. Yeah, so good question. ASP.NET Docker, very good question out there. Definitely. Thank you. Yes. Enable show and so see the extension. Yes. Right. Yeah, there are some Roslyn file. Remember the Roslyn compiler. So yes, that's a Roslyn compiler. Does anybody have idea of Roslyn? If you know the history of Roslyn. Right. Okay, so your desktop size shows ASP.image more than 6 GB. Then you build it. You should build it yourself. Remember, I showed how to install IIS. If you see our image, we had also built up an image of IIS. I don't know, it is not here, it is gone. That image was of 3 GB. Right, it is possible. These guys, because see, they have installed 3.5 also, they have installed a lot of frameworks as well, 2-3 frameworks they have installed it. They have also installed, some unnecessary components as well. That also I'm aware of. So must be go ahead and write the Docker file the old way, install IIS, install .NET Framework 4.5. That's it. Enable those IIS features, right? Run PowerShell. That is the only way to reduce the size. Or else, if you're getting from Microsoft, then that's what you will get. Okay. Let us see any other questions. Yes, Harmit. Sir, I'm trying for past 10 days to host web form inside IIS. I did not know it. I did not know it is so simple. It is simple, right? It is very simple. It is simple, why? Because see, in our old Docker file, we were writing .NET Restore, .NET this. The whole build process was as a part of Docker file. That's why it was that file is complex. Why this is simple? Because ASP.NET Web Form only runs on Web Form, right? Yes, absolutely. That Roslyn files are going. So if you want to do it, then publish as release folder. Publish as release and all those optimization, please do. I have not done it. Okay. Can we add connection string and all and Docker Compose? Yes, all that is there. Whatever I showed the demo for MVC core, all is valid out here. You can use web.config file. You can use Docker Compose. You can pass, but please pass through environmental variables. Those environmental variables, please connect to some good Azure configuration and put your variables, your secret keys or connection strings into something like a key vault. So don't make it naked. But whatever demo I showed, right, for ASP.NET Core, all holds true out here. Okay. Okay. Can we host on a web form? You cannot host on Linux, at least to my best knowledge. All the .NET 4.x, you cannot host on Linux. All .NET 4.x, you cannot host on Linux. So a little bit 4.7 and 4.5, what is the difference? Okay, so just quickly, this is a good question actually, because as you are hosting things, right, it can become very complex. That's why I was saying, that if somebody says, I want to do Dockerize something, he has to understand that technology very well. Okay, just as a history, that there is one question you're saying that how can I host .NET 2.0, ASP.NET 2? Are you using ASP.NET 2.0 still? Who is using ASP.NET 2.0? Right. If you're using it, then I have not seen any Docker image for it. I'm extremely sorry for that. But here it is. 2002, first time I saw .NET 1.0. Then we had .NET 2.0. And in this .NET 2, this is all Windows. We started with Windows. Remember, Microsoft was always Windows. 2002, 2003 approximately. .NET was named as something, and C Sharp, so like that sharp music, C Sharp. So better than C++. So that's why that sharp is of the music tone. So they started, and when they started, definitely Microsoft did not want to leave Windows. So it always said, I hated Linux or I hated open source. So they were always in the enclosed circle. So 2.0, then came 3.0, and then came 3.5, I guess. I'm a weak memory. And at that time, over here, we had something called as remoting, and we had something called as the web services. They became here WCF, WPF, and WWF, and whatever, Windows communication, Windows presentation, and all that. After that, there was a big leap of here to 4.0. And then they had a big leap of 4.x, 4.5, 4.6, 4.8. They are still doing something out there with a minor version, right? This was completely Windows. Please understand. This never ran in Linux, right? Then Microsoft realized, like we are left alone. People are doing jQuery, and we are losing market share. Then they said, I love Linux. If you remember, in one of the shows, Microsoft, and they started, okay, we will be open source 1.0. So they started with MVC 5 from here, actually. They kept this and they started somewhere here, MVC 5. Remember, all this is .NET 1.0. Over that, there was web form. But here, they said, like MVC 5 and web form together on this framework. And then they had this .NET Core 1.0, 3.0, what you're saying. So if it is .NET Core, then it will run on Linux, right? So over here, if you see that image, right, it is clearly saying from here, everything will work. I doubt your 2.0 will work. I'm not sure about this, right? And it is better you migrate your project. You will not get developers, right? Sir, can I deploy our .NET Core application on local machine using Docker and not use any? Absolutely. So, Amit, I have used a VM because I didn't want to tamper my machine, but a VM is a machine, right? A VM is a machine. So you can absolutely go and do it in your local machine, but make sure it is Hyper-V enabled. Make sure it is not Windows Home Edition. Just leave it. If it is Windows Home 10 or anything, right, it will not work. It should be enterprise. It should be Hyper-V enabled, right? It should work, I think so. Okay, now let us take the next topic. Let us move ahead. Very simple that was. Registry. Let's talk about publishing it to registry, right? So good, we have so many images out here. We have ASP.NET image, we have SQL image, and so on, right? And I want to take this image and I want to share it to the world out there. And I want somebody should go and download this image and create an application. So for example, for my hospital application out there, which I have, I want to give a Docker file because my hospital application is so complex, right, to install. Nobody can do that, right? Some part is in web form, then something is in MVC core, and then too many scripts to run. So I can create a Docker file and I can say to the hospitals, okay, go ahead, do a Docker pull, take the image. That's how to do that. So now think about it. Let us say we have this SQL image one out here, or we can take our ASP.NET image. How do we go and put it online? And how do we go and pull from the online, right? So for that, we have something called as a Docker registry, right? Or container registry. What is a container registry? A container registry is like GitHub, but it is mainly meant for containers, right? Containers of huge size. You can see this is 6 GB. 6 GB. Let us not do that. Let us take this one SQL image, 4 GB. But 6 GB is too huge. So let us go and take this SQL image one and push it to online, right? So for that, we can take up the Docker Hub. Docker Hub has a free registry out there. So over here, what you can do is over here, you can see I'm logged in as Shiv Koirala. So I have, this is my, let's hate this Internet Explorer. From where does it come? Pops up suddenly. So, right, so there it is. So this is over here, and I want to go ahead and push that thing over here. So this is my login out here. So you can see I can go and I can create a repository. So let us go and create a repository here, ASP.NET image or something, ASP.NET image. And we would like to push this, push that repository over here. Keep it public. If you don't keep it public, for private, you have to pay money. Must be there is one private free, but okay, so there it is. Good. So Shiv Koirala / ASP.NET image. There is where I can go and start pushing my file. So you can see here it is giving a command out here. Docker push. You should give this URL Shiv Koirala ASP.NET image and tag name. Tag name means like a version name 1.0, 2.0. And if you think it is latest, you can just say latest. Okay. So what I'll do is, so first thing what we have to do is we have to tag our Docker images. So let us go and say Docker images out here. Let us take one of the images and let us first tag it. Okay. Before that, you have to log in. You have to make sure that you log in out here. So I'll say Docker login. I think I'm already logged in, right? It is not. If you're not logged in, right? I don't know. There's a Docker logout. Let me do that. Docker logout. Okay. Right. Then now let me try again. Docker login. Right. Yeah, there it is. You get the thing like this. Now remember, this is the username. It is not the email address. So the username. My username is Shiv Koirala. Right. So it will be Shiv Koirala out here. And my password, whatever it is, what was it? So there it is login. It also tells you that why don't you go and use tokens? Like at this moment, I have to put the password and, how about a token? So what you can do is you can create a token out here as well. And you can generate a token and then say Docker username and the token name. So you don't have to give the password as well, right? Okay, that's fine. I've logged in with the password, but you can use images as well. So Docker images, what do we have here? We have all this. We want to push the SQL image one online. So first thing what we have to do is we have to tag it out, right? So tag it out means what? You will say here, Docker tag. Look at it. You will say, first you will tag it by this name. So Docker tag SQL image one with your URL, and you will say, we will name it as, I'm sorry, that should be fine. Now let us keep it like that only, right? So I'll put a tag name here, ASP.NET. It should be SQL image. I should have, let me create an SQL image. It is not looking good. It's okay. Let me create one more here. SQL image. Because that other image is very huge. So I don't want to use it. So you can see I have multiple repositories out here and SQL image. So I'll say here SQL image and tag, I will say this is 1.0. So the current SQL image one, what is out there, I want to tag it with 1.0 and I will say tag it. Tag, spell mistake. Now it is tagged. Okay. Now what I can do is, so I can go and say Docker push. So push this image, which you have just tagged locally, try to push it online. So just say copy it and paste it out here. And once you do that, right, it will start pushing that file online. You can see it has started pushing the file, and somewhere here, we will get that uploaded file once it is uploaded, right? So once the image is uploaded out there, right, why? What did I do? Shit. Actually, I should have put that SQL image. I put it into ASP.NET image. Please note, guys, I made a mistake here. Copy, paste, and haste. So it will go into ASP.NET image. Please note, it will go over here. It will go into ASP.NET image. Okay. Right. So whenever that 3 GB or whatever gets uploaded, I should see an image out here uploaded. Now, if I want to go and get that Docker thing, what I can do is, if I want to go and say no, like now make a pull, then I can just say here Docker pull and the name of the image. And once I get the image locally, I can say Docker run and create instances, right? So Docker image tag, Docker push, and Docker pull. Very simple, right? So any questions on how to use the how to publish to registry? What are tags? Now remember, if let us say from online somebody says, okay, there is a new or let us say, if you create offline a new image, then what you can do, you can say, okay, Docker tag 1.1, 1.2, and then you can say that, okay, this is 1.0 version image, this is 1.2 version image, and so. Right. Okay, any questions here? Very simple. This was Docker pull, Docker push. Okay, it is pushed. Very nice. So it is pushed out here. We can just have a look at it. So if you go online, it is out here. There it is. You can see 1.0. Now, if you want to pull, I can just copy this command from here and we can just go ahead and pull it locally. Remember, at this moment, our Docker images is this many, but now I'll say Docker pull. Remember, I copy pasted from online. I'll just pull it. There it is. And Docker images, I should find shift Querala ASP.NET image. There it is, ASP.NET image. And then I can say Docker run 8080 port, take the ASP.NET image, make it live, easy. Yeah, I'm so sorry, Ravindra. I made a mistake of ASP.NET SQL, right? Okay. So we can host Windows 11 professional as well. Instead of server, you should try 11. Your cost will be half. Professional image. Yeah, professional is okay. Professional works. I agree. Professional image on Azure. It works. That's fine. I delete these servers later on, so don't worry. And remember that, Microsoft actually, well, I'm not an MVP anymore, but I do so much teaching of Microsoft. So Microsoft team actually gives me very nice Azure subscription for free. So don't worry on that part. Okay. Yeah, the very nice suggestion. I will copy paste the suggestion from Kaushik. What you can do is that I liked it. Why not? Wherever we can save money, right? So what you can do is that I'm using the Windows Server images, right? And must be that when I show the demos, I will remember this, Kaushik, next time, that I will try to use the Windows 11 Professional. With that, your cost will be half. You're right, and so on. Absolutely, yes. A good thought. But now it is 10 rupees per hour, right? So, and then I stop also the images and I delete it every Saturday, Sunday. So, okay, let us see. Can we use some other ACI? Yes, absolutely, you can use. Good question. See, now repository, I've used Docker Hub. You can use Azure repository. We'll see that later on, huh? Because we are now, the next demo would be that how to run Docker on Azure. So we have done so much hard work, right? But when you go to Azure, it is just tick and your Docker image is created, right? But yes, it's a different money you have to pay out there. The whole goal of this 1 month was to make sure that you understand Docker, right? So I will be doing this demo with ACR as well. Absolutely. So you can publish to Docker Hub and also to ACR. The syntaxes are all same. Docker publish, Docker pull, all those syntaxes are same. Can I install Docker inside a VM? Yeah, you can. VM is a machine. You can. Yeah, that's a good thought. How can we secure a system from downloading public images on our this? Right, good question. See, now that's a good question. Actually, you are pulling some image out here. So first thing, don't pull images. That's why I was very particular when I was pulling up the Microsoft image. I wanted to make sure that I'm not pulling up a bad image. That is one, right? The second one, see, remember that you can go ahead and you can also run scans on images. Please note, right? So you can go and run scans on images, and by that also you can know. So when we are a separate lecture I'll be having on Docker security, where what is a CVC code, CVS code, how to identify which of the Dockers are having security threats, and how to run the scans, right? So I would suggest to run a scan and then only go ahead and download it. So there are specific container scans which are available, and those security scans can help you. Yeah, there is another thing. Okay, fine. So I think that brings us to the end of this session. I don't want to take anything new today uh, because it's almost 9:40. Anything I start now will take some more time. Actually, I wanted to start Docker on Azure, but I think that we have covered a lot of topics, and I feel that we should do one revision. So, how many of you guys think that the next week, if we can dedicate to revision, because see, we have completed installing Docker and all this images, IIS and SQL Server and networking, MVC core connection. So I feel that we should let me know, guys, if we should take one small a kind of a revision next week. Right?